From our exclusive Las Cruces Bureau.
I'm on Main Street in Las Cruces where businesses like Run Culture stay open late, but they don't see a lot of customers after 5 p.m. Gun background checks and concealed carry permits are on the rise since political debates have drawn a lot of attention recently. So I asked the police about the laws in New Mexico and where you can and can't take a weapon. The sheriff's office says this isn't about using your phone behind the wheel. They just want people to put the phone down and keep their eyes on the road. Las Cruces has 5 senior centers, including the Munson Center, but tomorrow's move could give seniors their first outdoor rec center with fitness equipment. This Honor Flight program is more like a once-in-a-lifetime experience where veterans from Las Cruces and El Paso are flown to Washington, D.C. free of charge and get to visit the monuments honoring their service. This year's training is different because this exercise will serve as the Army's final evaluation in a new warfighting assessment. I'm at the Las Cruces International Airport where roughly 90 students, instructors, and staff will be learning how to fly airplanes like these.
In the last 4 years, this community has really expanded.
4 years, the military has been using drones to drop bombs and spy on enemies. Now James, a captain in the Air Force, is training more pilots to fly them. In 2009, the training program graduated 136 remotely piloted aircraft or RPA pilots. In 2016, Holloman plans on graduating more than 800. This is the same thing you'll see?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I selected the GBU because you can see it went to solid green.
Using simulators like this, students learn to fly the MQ-1 or its big brother, the MQ-9. The MQ-9 or Reaper is bigger, has a better engine, and as you can see, more firepower.
The GBUs are bombs. The Hellfires are guided missiles.
Officials say students can learn how to fly the aircraft without ever seeing them.
The students are typically here for 4 to 5 months is the course for them. That varies a little bit with the weather for the season that's going on and how well the students are doing.
After learning the basics, the pilots are assigned to an operations squadron where they can fight terror groups like ISIS without being deployed.
For me personally, it's not quite as good as being in the fight myself, but it's good to know that I'm still making an important difference in the war effort.
Patrick Hayes, KFOX 14, News at 9.
KFOX 14 News at 9's Patrick Hayes is in our exclusive Las Cruces Bureau to show us how the detention center is cashing in on inmates.
Well, there's no reason that we should be trying to make money off of people that are incarcerated. I find that to be inhumane.
Commissioner Wayne Hancock is saying enough is enough and wants the county to stop charging inmates for certain things like condiments.
I've never been to a restaurant and been charged for salt.
For the first time in a long time, county officials heard from staff about the jail's inmate welfare fund, which is also being investigated by the Doña County Sheriff's Office. Since 2008, the county has made more than $600,000 by charging inmates for things like coffee, Kit Kats, and clothes. Some of that money is being used to pay for things like the jail's cable TV service. The rest is sitting in a bank account.
Clearly, we should have a policy on how those funds are being used, and it should be for the welfare of the inmates.
The commission has input on those policies, and thus far, up until now, really haven't heard much from them. So now at this point in time, we're ready to define those policies as they want us to.
Barella tells me he plans on building a medical wing at the jail and wants some of that money to pay for it.
That's going to come in a tune of $2.5 million. Can we use some of this money to help alleviate some of that taxpayer money to build that wing? That's up to the commission to make that decision and let me know whether or not they think that's a smart move or a good choice to provide for the inmates.
Patrick Hayes, KFOX 14, News at 9.
I'm consistently waking up, making sure that there's no sparks in the house.
Jacqueline Hernandez struggles to deal with a position she believes she put her kids in. 4 months, she's been using shortcuts to make her home feel safer. Now her and her 2 kids have to sleep in the living room because their bedrooms are falling apart.
It's not open at all. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I broke it. You can't open it. It's scary. I can't believe I put my children into this. If I knew that we were coming here in this situation, I don't think I would have moved in.
Hernandez asked her landlord
was not going to fix it.
I'm not going to invest any more money because the new landlord will now be taking over this piece of property.
Crawley owns El Sombreros in Las Cruces. When I reached out to her, she said she had no comment. Hernandez tells me she went to legal aid, but that didn't help.
It says to call the local housing authority or local code enforcement office.
And you did.
And I did.
The city of Las Cruces does not have an adopted property maintenance code, but did send someone to look at the house. An inspector said there were no life-threatening hazards, but after I started asking questions, the city sent another inspector to the house who wrote this 2-page report that says the house had mothballs, mold, a hole in the porch, no light switches, and out-of-code electrical work. New Mexico law says a landlord has 7 days to make improvements. If they don't, the tenant can terminate the lease. In this case, Hernandez has chosen to move to El Paso.
I don't feel I should continue having my family living here in Las Cruces. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe for them, and it's unfortunate.
It's a story you'll only see on KFOX 14.
It was fantastic. It brought me to tears.
After fighting in the Korean War, Robert Cervera never got the thanks he deserved, but that's changing thanks to this year's honor flight.
I was planning to go to Washington, D.C. to see the wall, but I got to see everything, okay? It means a hell of a lot to me.
Honor flights involve taking military veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials of the wars they fought in at no cost to the veterans. For 3 days, I had the honor of traveling with 40 local veterans on their honor flight. Along the way, the group received standing ovations at every stop, including this layover in Dallas.
It's almost a tearjerker when we went through and they started clapping and everything.
It was unbelievable. I thought it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had.
Among the memorials visited, the World War II Memorial, the Korean War Memorial, the Vietnam War Memorial, Arlington Cemetery, and the Tomb of the Unknown.
We must have walked about 10 miles back and forth, but it was wonderful.
On the way back to El Paso, the flight takes an emotional turn thanks to a special delivery.
Roberto Castillo.
There's even a recreation of mail call, but instead of letters from home, these vets are getting mail from students, thanking them for their service.
It was absolutely marvelous. Very, very humble. Very nice.
I read 2 of them and kind of got a tear in my eye.
These are super kids, man, super kids. They barely know how to write, but they wrote, okay? And it means a hell of a lot to us.
And after landing, Honor Flight 8 gets an unexpected hero's welcome, giving them one more experience they missed.
One thing that we didn't get when we came home, it means everything to me. It means everything.
Patrick Hayes, KFOX 14, News at 9.